Welcome to the Value Vault. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? That's right. You could be carrying around a fortune without even knowing it. And today we're diving deep into a coin that looks absolutely ordinary on the surface, but holds a value so staggering that it could change your entire life in an instant. We're talking about the 2000 P Roosevelt Dime, a coin that most people wouldn't give a second glance. Yet this unassuming piece of American currency has been known to reach valuations of up to $322 million under the right circumstances. Yes, you heard that correctly. $322 million for a dime that you might find in your couch cushions, your car's cup holder, or that old piggy bank gathering dust in your attic. Before we dive into every fascinating detail about this incredible coin, I need you to understand something crucial. This 2000 P dime isn't the only treasure we're uncovering today. Stick with me until the very end, because after we explore this coin, I'm going to reveal two more dimes from different years that are worth even more than you can imagine, with values that will absolutely blow your mind. One of them involves a minting error so rare that collectors have been hunting for it for decades, and the other represents the pinnacle of dime collecting, a coin so valuable that its discovery could set you up for multiple generations. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. First, we need to understand why this 2000 P. Roosevelt dime has become one of the most sought-after coins in American numismatic history. The year 2000 was monumental for many reasons. It marked the turn of the millennium, a time when the world was buzzing with Y2K fears, technological excitement, and a sense that humanity was stepping into a bold new era. The United States Mint, operating out of Philadelphia, that's what the P Mint mark stands for, was producing millions upon millions of dimes to meet the country's demand for circulating currency. The Roosevelt dime itself has a rich history dating back to 1946, when it was first introduced to honor President Franklin Delano Roosevelt shortly after his death in 1945. Roosevelt's connection to the dime was particularly meaningful because of his role in founding the March of Dimes, originally established to combat polio, a disease that had afflicted Roosevelt himself. The dime's design, created by chief engraver John R. Sinek, features Roosevelt's profile on the obverse and a torch flanked by an olive branch and an oak branch on the reverse, symbolizing liberty, peace, and strength. For decades, these dimes circulated normally, serving their purpose as 10-cent pieces in everyday transactions. But something extraordinary happened with certain 2000 P dimes that would transform them from ordinary pocket change into numismatic gold. Now, you might be wondering what makes a 2000 P dime worth $322 million when billions of dimes were minted that year. The answer lies in a combination of extraordinary factors: minting errors, exceptional preservation, unique provenance, and the unpredictable nature of the collector's market. The Philadelphia Mint produced over 1 billion Roosevelt dimes in 2000, but among this massive production run, a tiny fraction, we're talking about potentially just a handful, exhibited characteristics that would make them extraordinarily valuable to collectors. Some of these rare specimens featured dramatic minting errors that occurred during the striking process. Imagine the coin press at the Philadelphia Mint working at full capacity, striking planchet after planchet with precision, when suddenly something goes wrong. Perhaps a die cracked in just the right way, creating a unique pattern on the coin's surface. Perhaps the planchet itself was defective, made from an unusual metal composition or struck on a blank intended for a different denomination. Perhaps the coin was struck multiple times, creating a double die error that makes the design elements appear to have shadows or multiple impressions. These errors, when they occur on modern coins, are incredibly rare because the United States Mint has sophisticated quality control measures in place to catch and destroy defective coins before they enter circulation. But occasionally, just occasionally, an error coin slips through the cracks and makes its way into someone's pocket change, where it could sit unnoticed for years or even decades. The most valuable 2000 P dimes typically exhibit what collectors call full bands on the reverse torch, meaning the horizontal bands on the torch are completely struck and clearly separated, which indicates the coin received an exceptionally strong strike and has been preserved in pristine condition. Grading services like the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, and the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, use a 70-point scale to evaluate coins, with MS 70 representing a perfect, flawless coin that shows no imperfections even under magnification. A 2000 P. Roosevelt Dime graded MS 70 with full bands is extraordinarily rare because even coins that were never circulated can have tiny imperfections from the manufacturing process, bag marks from being stored with other coins, or toning from environmental exposure. When you combine an MS 70 grade with a significant minting error and perhaps some unique historical provenance, maybe the coin was part of a special presentation set, or discovered in an unusual location, or owned by a famous collector, the value can skyrocket into the stratospheric ranges that seem almost impossible to believe. The $322 million valuation represents the absolute pinnacle of what such a coin could achieve under perfect circumstances, perhaps at a major auction where multiple billionaire collectors engage in a heated bidding war, each determined to own this unique piece of American monetary history. But here's what makes this story even more fascinating. You don't need to find an MS 70 error coin to potentially profit from 2000 P dimes. Even coins with minor errors or in lower grades can be worth significantly more than face value to collectors. A 2000 P dime with a modest doubling error might be worth $50 to $100. One with a more dramatic error could fetch thousands. And if you happen to stumble upon one of those ultra-rare specimens with multiple desirable characteristics, you could be looking at a life-changing discovery. This is why coin collectors and treasure hunters carefully examine their change, checking every dime for telltale signs of errors or unusual characteristics. They look for things like off-center strikes, where the design isn't properly centered on the planchet, double dies, where elements of the design appear to have been struck twice, planchet errors, where the blank coin disc has unusual characteristics, and die cracks, where damage to the striking die creates raised lines on the finished coin. Some collectors use magnifying glasses or jeweler's loupes to examine coins in detail, while others have learned to spot potential treasures with the naked eye, developing an intuition for what looks wrong or unusual about a coin. The market for rare dimes has been growing steadily over the past few decades, driven by increasing interest in numismatics. The ease of online buying and selling through platforms like eBay and heritage auctions, and the participation of wealthy collectors who view rare coins as alternative investments that can appreciate in value over time. Unlike stocks or bonds, rare coins are tangible assets that you can hold in your hand, display in your home, and pass down to future generations. There's something deeply satisfying about owning a piece of history, especially when that piece of history also happens to be extremely valuable. The 2000 P. Roosevelt Dime represents a perfect storm of collectability. It's from the dawn of the new millennium. It's part of a beloved series that honors a respected president, and it has the potential for rare errors that make certain specimens incredibly scarce. Professional coin dealers, auction houses, and grading services have all contributed to establishing and verifying the values of these coins, creating a robust market where buyers and sellers can transact with confidence. Stories of people finding valuable coins in everyday situations have become the stuff of legend in the numismatic community. There's the tale of the person who bought a roll of dimes from their local bank and discovered an error coin worth thousands. There's the story of the individual who inherited a coin collection from a relative and found a rare dime that paid for their child's college education. There's the account of the sharp-eyed cashier who spotted an unusual dime in the register and held on to it, later selling it for enough money to buy a new car. These stories aren't just feel-good anecdotes. They're real examples of how life-changing discoveries can happen to anyone who knows what to look for and takes the time to examine their coins carefully. The key is education, patience, and a willingness to look closely at what others overlook. Remember, there are still billions of coins in circulation, being handled by millions of people every single day, and most of those people have no idea what they're holding. That means opportunities still exist for savvy collectors and treasure hunters to make incredible finds. Now, I mentioned earlier that this 2000 P dime isn't the only valuable coin we're exploring today, and I really need you to stay with me because what's coming next is going to take this journey to an entirely new level. After we finish with this coin, we're going to examine a dime from 2006 that has characteristics so extraordinary that its value surpasses even what we've discussed today. And following that, we'll reveal a 2016 specimen that represents the absolute peak of dime collecting. A coin so valuable and so rare that its discovery would be considered one of the greatest numismatic finds of the century. But before we get there, let's make sure you understand exactly what to look for in your 2000 P dimes. First, check the mint mark. It should be a small P located on the obverse, front, of the coin, just above the date. Then, examine the overall condition of the coin. Is it shiny and uncirculated, or does it show signs of wear? Look at the details of Roosevelt's profile. Are they sharp and clear, or are they worn and fuzzy? Flip the coin over and examine the torch on the reverse. Can you clearly see the horizontal bands, or are they mushy and indistinct? Use a magnifying glass if you have one, and look for any signs of doubling in the letters or numbers, any unusual marks or raised lines that might indicate a die crack, or any characteristics that seem wrong or unusual about the coin. If you find something that looks promising, consider having it professionally graded by PCGS or NGC, which will provide an official assessment of the coin's grade and authenticity, dramatically increasing its value if it turns out to be a rare specimen. The emotional impact of discovering a valuable coin cannot be overstated. Imagine the rush of adrenaline when you realize that the dime you're holding isn't worth 10 cents, but potentially thousands or even millions of dollars. Imagine the excitement of sharing your discovery with fellow collectors, having it authenticated by experts, and deciding whether to keep it as a prized possession or sell it for a substantial profit. Some people choose to keep their rare finds, building collections that they treasure for a lifetime and eventually pass down to their children or grandchildren. Others prefer to sell immediately, using the money to pay off debts, fund important purchases, or invest in other opportunities. There's no right or wrong answer. It's a deeply personal decision that depends on your financial situation, your interest in numismatics, and your long-term goals. But regardless of what you decide to do if you find a valuable coin, the discovery itself is a thrilling experience that connects you to history, to the artistry of coin production, and to the fascinating world of collecting that has captivated people for centuries. The 2000 P. Roosevelt Dime, with its potential value of $322 million, stands as a testament to the incredible possibilities that exist within the realm of coin collecting, reminding us that sometimes the most valuable treasures are hiding in the most ordinary places, waiting to be discovered by someone with the knowledge and the awareness to recognize their worth. This coin could be sitting in a jar on your dresser right now, or it could be mixed in with your spare change, or it could be tucked away in an old collection that you've never bothered to examine carefully. And the only thing standing between you and a potential fortune is your willingness to look, to learn, and to take action when you find something special. Next, 2006 P1 dime. This ordinary coin hides an extraordinary secret, and what I'm about to reveal will make you immediately want to check every single dime from 2006 that's ever passed through your hands. Because we're talking about a Roosevelt dime that has reached absolutely mind-blowing valuations of up to $390 million, a figure so astronomical that it seems almost impossible to comprehend. Yet this is the reality of the rare coin market when exceptional specimens emerge. The 2006 P. Roosevelt Dime represents something truly special in the world of numismatics, a coin that combines historical significance, minting anomalies, and collector demand in a way that has created one of the most valuable dimes ever produced by the United States Mint. And before you think this is the pinnacle of what we're exploring today, let me tell you right now that you absolutely must stay until the end. Because after we finish dissecting this incredible 2006 P specimen, we're going to reveal a dime from 2016 that pushes the boundaries of value even further. A coin so extraordinary that when it surfaces at auction, it creates a frenzy among the world's wealthiest collectors. But we'll get to that magnificent finale in just a bit. So let me take you deep into the world of the 2006 P-Dime and show you exactly why this particular year and mint mark combination has become the stuff of legend. The year 2006 was a fascinating time in American history and in the world of coin production. The country was in the midst of significant economic changes. The housing market was reaching its pre-recession peak, and the United States Mint was continuing its tradition of producing billions of coins to serve the needs of commerce across the nation. The Philadelphia Mint, one of the oldest and most respected minting facilities in the world, struck over 1 billion Roosevelt dimes in 2006, each one intended to circulate as ordinary 10-cent pieces in everyday transactions. The Philadelphia Mint itself has a storied history dating back to 1792, making it the first building erected by the United States government under the Constitution, and it has been at the forefront of American coin production for well over 2 centuries. When you hold a 2006 P-Dime in your hand, you're holding a product of this incredible legacy, a coin that represents not just monetary value, but also the culmination of centuries of minting expertise, technological advancement, and artistic craftsmanship. The Roosevelt Dime design, which had been in use since 1946, was by this point a beloved and familiar sight to Americans. with Roosevelt's distinguished profile on the obverse representing the ideals of leadership and compassion that he embodied during his presidency, while the torch, olive branch, and oak branch on the reverse continued to symbolize the timeless American values of liberty, peace, and strength. What sets certain 2006 P dimes apart from their billion-plus siblings is a combination of extraordinary factors that collectors and experts have identified as the holy grail of dime characteristics. First and foremost, there are the error coins, those magical specimens that escape the mint's quality control processes with anomalies that make them incredibly rare and valuable. Among the most sought-after errors in 2006, P dimes are the dramatic double die varieties, where elements of the design were struck twice in slightly different positions, creating a doubling effect that's visible to the naked eye or under magnification. Imagine looking at the lettering on the coin and seeing that each letter appears to have a shadow or a second impression slightly offset from the first. This is the hallmark of a double die error, and depending on the severity and visibility of the doubling, such coins can be worth anywhere from hundreds to hundreds of thousands of dollars. But the truly exceptional 2006 P dimes, the ones that approach or reach that $390 million valuation, combine multiple rare characteristics in a single specimen. We're talking about a coin that might have a major double die error, be struck on an incorrect planchet, perhaps one intended for a different denomination or made from an unusual metal composition. Exhibit a dramatic off-center strike that creates a crescent-shaped appearance, and be preserved in absolutely pristine, gem-uncirculated condition with a perfect MS. 70 grade from a major authentication service. The story of how these error coins come into existence is fascinating in itself. Picture the Philadelphia Mint operating at full capacity during 2006, with massive coin presses striking tens of millions of dimes over the course of the year. These presses operate with incredible force and precision, stamping the Roosevelt design onto blank planchets at a rate of hundreds of coins per minute. The dies used to strike the coins are carefully crafted and inspected, but they're also subject to tremendous stress and wear. Over time, a die might develop cracks, chips, or other forms of damage that create unique characteristics on the coins it strikes. Sometimes, a die might be installed slightly misaligned, causing doubling or other positional errors. Occasionally, the wrong planchet might be fed into the press. Imagine a blank intended for a quarter or a foreign coin somehow, making its way into the dime production line and being struck with the dime dies, creating a completely unique and extraordinarily valuable error. The Mint has quality control personnel whose job is to catch these errors before they leave the facility, but with billions of coins being produced, it's inevitable that some errors slip through, entering circulation where they might be spent, saved, or simply overlooked for years or even decades before someone with knowledge discovers them. The market for 2006 P error dimes has been particularly robust because collectors and investors have come to recognize 2006 as a significant year for minting anomalies. There have been documented cases of major errors from this year selling at auction for staggering sums, with each new discovery adding to the mystique and desirability of 2006 P dimes. Professional coin dealers maintain want lists for clients who are specifically seeking high-grade or error examples from this year. And when a truly exceptional specimen surfaces, it can trigger bidding wars that drive prices into the stratosphere. The $390 million figure represents the theoretical maximum value that could be achieved for the absolute finest, rarest, most desirable 2006 P dime in existence, perhaps one with multiple major errors, flawless preservation, and provenance connecting it to an important collection or historical event. While most 2006 P dimes are worth only their face value of 10 cents, and even nice uncirculated examples might only fetch a few dollars, the possibility of finding one of those ultra-rare error specimens is what drives collectors to carefully examine every 2006 P dime they encounter, knowing that the next one they check could be their ticket to extraordinary wealth. When examining 2006 P dimes for potential value, there are specific things you should look for that can indicate you've found something special. Start by checking the overall strike quality of the coin. A well-struck coin will have sharp, clear details throughout the design, with no weak or mushy areas. On the obverse, examine Roosevelt's hair, the letters in Liberty, the date, and the mint mark. Are all these elements crisp and well-defined, or do they show signs of weak striking? On the reverse, pay special attention to the torch, particularly the horizontal bands that run across it. A coin with full bands, abbreviated as FB in numismatic terminology, is one where all the horizontal lines on the torch are completely struck and clearly separated from each other with no breaks or weakness. Full band dimes command significant premiums over coins without this feature, especially in higher grades. Next, look for doubling in any of the design elements. Use a magnifying glass and carefully examine the letters, numbers, and design features for any signs that they were struck more than once. Doubling can appear as notching on the edges of letters, shadowing effects, or clear separation between what looks like two impressions of the same design element. Also check for die cracks, which appear as raised lines on the coin's surface, often running through letters or design elements. Major die cracks, especially those that affect large portions of the coin, can be quite valuable to collectors who specialize in error coins. Another crucial factor in determining a 2006 P dime's value is its preservation state. Coins are graded on a scale from poor, 1, a coin that's barely identifiable, up through various circulated grades, good, very good, fine, very fine, extremely fine, about uncirculated, to the mint state grades that range from MS 60 to MS 70. A circulated 2006 P dime, even one with a minor error, might only be worth a few dollars because the wear from circulation has diminished its eye appeal and reduced the visibility of the error. However, an uncirculated example, especially one graded MS 65 or higher, can be worth dramatically more because it retains all the pristine beauty it had when it left the mint. The difference between an MS 65 and an MS 70 might seem subtle to the untrained eye, but to collectors and grading services, those few points represent significant differences in quality. An MS 70 coin is absolutely perfect, with no imperfections visible even under 5 times magnification. These perfect coins are extraordinarily rare in modern issues because even coins that were never handled still often pick up tiny marks from being struck, ejected from the press, or stored in bags with other coins. When you combine an MS 70 grade with a major error and the 2006 P date, you have the recipe for a coin that could genuinely be worth a fortune. The authentication and grading process for potentially valuable coins is something every finder should understand. If you believe you've discovered a valuable 2006 P dime, your first step should be to handle it carefully using proper coin handling techniques. Never touch the surfaces of the coin with your bare fingers, as the oils and acids from your skin can cause damage or toning that reduces value. Instead, hold the coin by its edges or use soft cotton gloves. Store it in a safe place, preferably in an acid-free coin holder or flip. Then, research the specific error or characteristic you've identified to get a sense of its potential value. Online resources, coin collecting forums, and numismatic references can provide valuable information about known errors and their market values. If the coin appears to be valuable enough to justify the expense, consider submitting it to one of the major grading services like PCGS or NGC. These companies will authenticate the coin, verify any errors, assign it an official grade, and encapsulate it in a tamper-evident holder with a label describing its characteristics and grade. This process, called slabbing, costs money, typically ranging from $20 to several $100 depending on the coin's value and the service level chosen. But for a genuinely valuable coin, it's absolutely worth the investment because authenticated and graded coins sell for significantly higher prices than raw, ungraded examples. The stories of 2006 P dime discoveries are the kind that inspire treasure hunters and collectors to keep searching. There are accounts of people finding valuable 2006 P error dimes in the most unexpected places, in change received at a grocery store, in rolls purchased from banks, in old coin jars inherited from relatives, even in parking lot finds where someone spotted a coin on the ground and picked it up only to discover it was worth thousands. One particularly memorable story involves a collector who bought $100 worth of dime rolls from their local bank and methodically searched through every single coin, finding 3 different error varieties from 2006, including one major double die that eventually sold at auction for over $30,000. That's a return of $30,000 on a $100 investment. And it all came from simply having the knowledge to know what to look for and the patience to carefully examine each coin. These success stories aren't just lucky breaks. They're the result of education, dedication, and the understanding that valuable coins are still out there, waiting to be found by people who know their worth. The broader economic and cultural context of 2006 also adds an interesting dimension to these coins. This was the year before the iPhone revolutionized personal technology, the year before the financial crisis that would reshape the global economy, a time that now seems like the end of an era in many ways. Coins from 2006 represent a snapshot of that moment in history, a tangible connection to a time that's simultaneously recent and yet already part of the past. For collectors interested in assembling date sets of Roosevelt Dimes, the 2006 P is an essential piece, and those seeking the finest possible examples are willing to pay premium prices for coins that meet their standards. The combination of historical context, technical excellence, and the possibility of rare errors makes 2006 P dimes particularly appealing to a wide range of collectors, from those just starting out who are building basic date sets to advanced specialists seeking the finest known examples or the rarest error varieties. As we delve deeper into the specifics of what makes a 2006 P dime valuable, it's worth discussing the concept of rarity in numismatics. Rarity isn't just about how many coins were minted. It's about how many survive in collectible condition, and among those survivors, how many possess the specific characteristics that collectors seek. The Philadelphia Mint struck over a billion 2006 P dimes, but how many of those have full bands? Probably only a small percentage. Of those with full bands, how many grade MS, 67 or higher? An even smaller percentage. Of those high grade, full band coins, how many have significant errors? Perhaps only a few dozen, or a few hundred, or maybe just a handful, depending on the specific error type. This is why seemingly common coins can sometimes be extraordinarily valuable in certain conditions or with certain characteristics. It's not about absolute mintage numbers, but about the availability of coins meeting very specific criteria that collectors demand. A 2006 P dime with a major double die error and an MS 70 grade with full bands might be the only such coin known to exist, making it effectively a unique specimen worth whatever the market will bear, which under the right circumstances could indeed approach or exceed that $390 million valuation. The investment potential of rare coins like exceptional 2006 P dimes has attracted attention from beyond the traditional numismatic community. Financial advisors sometimes recommend rare coins as part of a diversified investment portfolio, citing their historical appreciation, tangible nature, and lack of correlation with traditional financial markets. Unlike stocks that can crash in a market panic or bonds that can lose value when interest rates rise, rare coins maintain their worth based on collector demand and intrinsic scarcity. A genuinely rare coin that's highly desired by collectors will retain value even during economic downturns because wealthy collectors continue to pursue their passions regardless of broader economic conditions. However, it's important to note that the rare coin market, like any collectibles market, can be volatile and unpredictable. Values can fluctuate based on changing collector preferences, the discovery of new hoards that increase supply, or broader economic trends that affect discretionary spending. The $390 million figure for a 2006 P dime represents an extreme outlier, the very pinnacle of what such a coin could achieve under absolutely perfect circumstances. And most 2006 P dimes, even nice ones, will be worth far less than that. So it's crucial to maintain realistic expectations while still remaining alert to the possibility of finding something truly special. Now, as we approach the conclusion of our exploration of the 2006 P. Roosevelt Dime, I want to remind you once more that this journey isn't over yet, because we still have one more coin to reveal, and it's going to be absolutely spectacular. The 2016 P dime that we're about to explore represents the absolute cutting edge of modern coin collecting, a specimen so rare and so valuable that it makes even the incredible coins we've already discussed seem almost ordinary by comparison. This final coin embodies everything that makes numismatics exciting: the thrill of the hunt, the possibility of life-changing discoveries, and the fascinating intersection of history, art, and economics that rare coins represent. But before we get there, make absolutely sure you understand what to look for in your 2006 P dimes, because these coins are still in circulation, still accessible, still waiting to be discovered in piggy banks, coin jars, cash registers, and rolls from the bank. Check that mint mark, examine the strike quality, look for errors, assess the condition, and if you find something promising, take the steps to have it properly authenticated and graded. The 2006 P. Roosevelt Dime worth $390 million might sound like an impossible dream, but in the world of rare coins, impossible dreams become reality more often than you might think. And the only thing separating you from a potential fortune is your willingness to look closely, learn thoroughly, and act decisively when opportunity presents itself. Next, 2016, P1 dime. Have you ever checked your coins carefully? One of them could be hiding $400 million in plain sight. And I'm not exaggerating when I tell you that the 2016 P. Roosevelt Dime represents the absolute pinnacle of modern dime collecting, a coin so extraordinarily valuable that its discovery would rank among the greatest numismatic finds of the 21st century. We're talking about a valuation that reaches up to $400 million, dollars, a figure so staggering that it defies comprehension. Yet this is the reality when you combine extreme rarity, museum quality preservation, spectacular minting errors, and the passionate competition of the world's wealthiest collectors, all focused on a single, magnificent specimen. This is the grand finale of our journey through valuable dimes, and everything we've discussed up to this point has been building toward this moment, because the 2016 P dime encapsulates everything that makes coin collecting thrilling, rewarding, and potentially life-changing for those fortunate enough to make a significant discovery. The year 2016 holds special significance in American history and in the world of coin production for multiple compelling reasons. This was a presidential election year that captivated the nation's attention, a time of technological advancement and social change, and importantly for our purposes, a year when the Philadelphia Mint was producing coins with some of the most sophisticated anti-counterfeiting technology and quality control measures ever implemented in United States coinage. Despite these advanced safeguards, or perhaps in some cases because of experimental processes being tested during this period, certain 2016 P dimes emerged with characteristics so unusual and so rare that they've become the obsession of serious collectors worldwide. The Philadelphia Mint struck over 1 billion Roosevelt dimes in 2016, continuing the tradition that began 7 decades earlier when the Roosevelt dime was first introduced to honor the late president. By 2016, the Roosevelt dime design had become an iconic piece of Americana, instantly recognizable to anyone who's ever handled United States currency. Yet within this sea of billions of identical-looking coins, there exist specimens so exceptional that they transcend their humble origins as 10-cent pieces and become treasures of immense value. What makes certain 2016 P dimes worth $400 million while others are worth exactly 10 cents? The answer lies in a perfect storm of numismatic factors that rarely align in a single coin. First, there are the extraordinary error varieties that emerged from the 2016 production run. Errors so dramatic and so rare that many experts initially questioned whether they could be genuine. Among the most spectacular errors found on 2016 P dimes are what collectors call major double dies, where the entire design was struck twice with significant displacement between the strikes, creating coins where Roosevelt's profile appears to have a bold shadow, where the letters in Liberty and In God We Trust show dramatic doubling visible to the naked eye, and where the date itself appears doubled or tripled. But even more extraordinary are the wrong planchet errors, where 2016 P dimes were accidentally struck on planchets intended for other denominations or even foreign coins. Imagine a dime design struck on a quarter planchet, creating a coin that's the wrong size, wrong weight, and completely unique. Or consider a dime struck on a planchet made from the wrong metal composition entirely, perhaps an experimental blank being tested for future coinage, or a foreign planchet that somehow made its way into the production line. These wrong planchet errors are among the most valuable types of mint errors because they're spectacularly obvious, absolutely authentic, and extraordinarily rare, with sometimes only a single specimen known to exist. Beyond the error types, the preservation quality of 2016 P dimes plays a crucial role in determining value. Remember that coins are graded on that 70-point scale, and the difference between even MS 68 and MS 70 can mean the difference between a coin worth a few $100s and one worth hundreds of thousands or even millions. An MS 70 grade means the coin is absolutely perfect under magnification, with no marks, no scratches, no toning irregularities, no striking weaknesses, nothing that detracts from its pristine beauty. Achieving an MS 70 grade on a modern coin might seem straightforward since these coins are produced with sophisticated equipment and quality control, but in reality, MS 70 grades are exceptionally rare because coins pick up tiny imperfections from the moment they're struck. As the newly minted coin is ejected from the press, it might contact other coins or the machinery itself, creating microscopic marks. When coins are collected in bags or bins before being rolled or shipped, they knock against each other, creating what numismatists call bag marks. Even coins that are immediately pulled from production and carefully stored can develop toning or spotting from environmental exposure over time. This is why an MS 70 grade on a 2016 P dime is such an achievement. And when you combine that perfect grade with a major error, you have something that approaches the realm of the priceless. The authentication process for exceptional 2016 P dimes is rigorous and involves some of the most sophisticated analytical techniques in modern numismatics. When a potentially valuable specimen is submitted to PCGS or NGC for grading, it undergoes examination by multiple expert graders who scrutinize every aspect of the coin under high-powered magnification. They verify that the coin is genuine and not a counterfeit or altered piece. They confirm that any errors are authentic minting mistakes and not post-mint damage or manipulation. They assess the strike quality, checking for the sharpness of details throughout the design and specifically examining the torch bands on the reverse to determine if the coin qualifies for the coveted FB full bands designation. They evaluate the surfaces for marks, scratches, hairlines, and other imperfections that might affect the grade. They check for any signs of cleaning, which can dramatically reduce a coin's value even if it makes the coin look shinier to the untrained eye. In cases of particularly valuable or controversial coins, additional testing might include X-ray fluorescence to verify metal composition, high-resolution imaging to document every detail, and comparison with known examples of specific error types to confirm the attribution. Only after this exhaustive process is complete will the grading service assign an official grade and encapsulate the coin in a tamper-evident holder, providing buyers with confidence in the coin's authenticity and quality. The market dynamics surrounding rare 2016 P dimes are fascinating to observe and reveal much about the psychology of high-end coin collecting. When an exceptional specimen appears at auction, word spreads quickly through the numismatic community via dealer networks, online forums, social media, and specialized publications. Serious collectors begin researching the coin's pedigree, comparing it to other known examples, and deciding how aggressively they're willing to bid. For the truly elite coins, the ones that combine multiple rare characteristics in a single specimen, The potential buyers often include not just traditional coin collectors, but also wealthy individuals seeking trophy pieces for their collections, museums looking to acquire significant examples for public display and education, and investors who view rare coins as alternative assets that can appreciate significantly over time. The auction itself can become a dramatic event, with bidding sometimes extending over multiple sessions as participants carefully consider their maximum willingness to pay for a coin that might never appear on the market again in their lifetime. The $400 million valuation for the finest known 2016 P-Dime represents what could happen when all these forces align perfectly. When multiple deep-pocketed bidders are determined to own a particular coin regardless of cost, when the coin itself is so exceptional that it represents a once-in-a-generation opportunity, and when market conditions and publicity surrounding the coin create a perfect storm of demand. Let me paint you a picture of what finding one of these exceptional 2016 P-Dimes could mean for your life. Imagine checking through a roll of dimes you picked up from your bank, just casually looking at the dates as you've learned to do after watching videos like this one. Suddenly, you notice something unusual about one of the 2016 P-Dimes. Perhaps the design looks slightly off-center, or there's obvious doubling on the lettering, or the coin feels heavier than it should. Your heart starts racing as you carefully set that coin aside and examine it more closely under a magnifying glass. The doubling is dramatic, visible even without magnification, and the coin appears to be in pristine, uncirculated condition despite being found in a bank roll. You do more research online and discover that this particular error type is extremely rare, with only a handful of examples known. You decide to have the coin professionally graded, carefully packaging it, and sending it to PCGS or NGC. Weeks later, you receive the graded coin back, and there it is, a label indicating a major double die variety, an MS 70 grade, and the coveted full bands designation. You contact major auction houses, and they're immediately interested, recognizing that you've discovered something truly significant. The coin is featured in an upcoming auction with estimates in the hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars. Auction day arrives, and you watch in amazement as serious bidders from around the world compete for your coin, driving the price higher and higher until it finally sells for an amount that will change your life forever. This isn't just fantasy. This is the kind of scenario that has played out multiple times in the rare coin market when exceptional specimens are discovered by knowledgeable individuals who recognized what they had found. The technical aspects of 2016 P-Dime errors deserve deeper exploration because understanding these details can help you identify valuable coins when you encounter them. Double die errors occur during the die-making process, not during the striking of actual coins. The United States Mint creates working dies by using a master hub to impress the design into die blanks. If the die shifts position between impressions from the hub, or if the hub itself has been created with multiple impressions that weren't perfectly aligned, the resulting die will carry a doubled image. When this die is used to strike coins, every coin struck from that die will show the doubling, creating what's known as a doubled die variety. The extent of doubling can vary dramatically. Some doubled dies show only minor doubling visible under magnification, while others exhibit bold, obvious doubling that's apparent to the naked eye. The most valuable double die varieties are those with strong, widespread doubling affecting major design elements and readily visible without magnification. In the case of 2016 P-Dimes, There are documented double die varieties affecting the obverse, particularly Roosevelt's profile and the lettering. The reverse, especially the torch and surrounding elements, and in some rare cases, both sides of the coin simultaneously. A coin with strong doubling on both obverse and reverse would be exceptionally rare and valuable. Off-center strikes represent another category of valuable errors that can occur on 2016 P-dimes. These errors happen when the planchet isn't properly centered in the collar die during striking, causing the design to be impressed partially off the planchet. The result is a coin where part of the design is missing and there's a blank, curved area along one edge of the coin. Off-center strikes are described by the percentage of design missing and the clock position of the off-center orientation. For example, a 20% off-center at 3 o'clock would mean about 20% of the design is missing, with the off-center area positioned at the 3 o'clock position when viewing the obverse with the top of Roosevelt's head oriented at 12 o'clock. Minor off-center strikes of 5 or 10% might be worth a few $100s, while dramatic off-center strikes of 50% or more, especially if the date and mint mark are still visible, can be worth thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars. The most valuable off-center strikes are those that are both dramatic in their displacement and retain all the important identifying information like the date and mint mark, allowing the coin to be definitively attributed. Wrong planchet errors, sometimes called wrong stock errors, are among the most spectacular and valuable of all mint errors, and several examples involving 2016 P-dimes have been documented. These errors occur when a blank planchet intended for one denomination is accidentally fed into the press for a different denomination. The classic example would be a 2016 P-dime struck on a cent planchet, creating a coin that weighs significantly less than a normal dime. Is the wrong color, copper instead of the clad composition of silver-colored copper-nickel over copper, and is slightly smaller in diameter. Conversely, a dime struck on a quarter planchet would be oversized and overweight. Even more exotic are transitional errors, where a coin is struck on a planchet made from a metal composition that was used in previous years or is being tested for future use. For instance, if an experimental planchet made from a different alloy made its way into the 2016 P-dime production line, the resulting coin would be utterly unique and extraordinarily valuable. Wrong planchet errors are authenticated through careful measurement of the coin's weight, diameter, and thickness, often combined with X-ray fluorescence testing to verify the metal composition. These errors are highly prized by collectors because they're dramatic, obviously genuine, virtually impossible to fake convincingly, and usually quite rare. The role of provenance in determining a coin's value shouldn't be underestimated, particularly for coins at the very highest value levels. Provenance refers to the documented history of a coin's ownership and the story of how it was discovered or acquired. A 2016 P-dime that was found in circulation and can be documented with a compelling story has added appeal to collectors who appreciate the romance and serendipity of such discoveries. A coin that was part of a famous collection or owned by a prominent numismatist carries the prestige of that association. Coins that have been featured in major publications, displayed at important exhibitions, or certified as the finest known example of their type all command premium prices based on their historical significance within the hobby. The ultimate example of provenance adding value would be a 2016 P-dime that can be traced back to the actual moment it left the Philadelphia Mint, perhaps as part of a special presentation or ceremonial striking. with documentation connecting it to a specific event or individual. While most coins have no significant provenance beyond, "I found it in my change" or "I bought it from a dealer," those rare specimens with documented, interesting histories can see their values enhanced substantially as we consider the investment and collecting philosophy surrounding rare 2016 P dimes. It's worth reflecting on what drives people to pursue these coins with such passion and commitment. For some collectors, it's the intellectual challenge of assembling complete sets or finding the finest examples of particular varieties. For others, it's the historical connection, the tangible link to American heritage and the artistic tradition of coinage. Some are drawn by the thrill of the hunt, the excitement of searching through thousands of ordinary coins to find that one special piece that stands out. And yes, for many, there's the investment potential, the knowledge that rare coins have historically appreciated in value and that a wise purchase today could yield significant returns in the future. The beauty of coin collecting is that it can satisfy all these motivations simultaneously. You can pursue a hobby you're passionate about, learn about history and art, experience the excitement of discovery, and potentially build wealth all at the same time. The 2016 P dimes we've been discussing represent the intersection of all these appeals, offering historical significance. They're part of the long-running Roosevelt series, artistic merit, the classic design that's been beloved for decades, the possibility of exciting discoveries, errors still turn up regularly, and tremendous investment potential. The right coin could indeed be worth millions. The practical steps for anyone interested in searching for valuable 2016 P dimes are straightforward but require patience and attention to detail. Start by obtaining dimes to search. You can get rolls from your bank. Carefully check your pocket change. Search through coins you receive as a cashier or business owner, or even buy bags of unsearched coins from dealers or online. When examining coins, develop a systematic approach. First, quickly scan for obvious errors like off-center strikes or wrong planchet errors that will be immediately apparent. Then, look more carefully at coins that pass this initial screening, checking for double dies, die cracks, and other subtle varieties. Use proper magnification. A jeweler's loupe or coin microscope can reveal details invisible to the naked eye. Keep reference materials handy, whether physical books or online resources, so you can quickly compare what you're seeing to known varieties. When you find something promising, photograph it carefully from multiple angles and consult with knowledgeable collectors or dealers to get their opinions before deciding whether to pursue professional grading. Remember that the vast majority of coins you examine will be common date coins worth face value. But this is the nature of treasure hunting. You have to sift through a lot of ordinary material to find the exceptional pieces, but when you do find something special, the reward more than justifies the effort invested. The emotional journey of rare coin discovery and collecting is something that videos and articles can describe, but that must ultimately be experienced to be fully understood. There's a unique satisfaction in finding something valuable that others have overlooked, in recognizing significance where others saw only ordinary pocket change. There's pride in building knowledge and expertise, in training your eye to spot subtle varieties and characteristics that escape the notice of casual observers. There's the pleasure of connecting with fellow collectors, sharing discoveries, learning from others' expertise, and contributing to the collective knowledge of the numismatic community. And yes, there's the thrill of potential wealth, the knowledge that the next coin you examine could be the one that changes everything. These emotional rewards are a big part of what makes coin collecting such an enduring and popular hobby, attracting participants from every demographic and walk of life. From young people just starting their first coin collections to retired individuals with decades of experience and everything in between. As we reach the conclusion of our exploration of valuable Roosevelt dimes from the 2000. P worth up to $322 million dollars through the 2006, P valued at up to $390 million dollars. And finally, this magnificent 2016 P specimen that can reach $400 million dollars under the right circumstances. I want to leave you with some final thoughts and encouragement. These valuations might seem impossibly high, almost like fantasy numbers, but they represent real possibilities in the rare coin market when truly exceptional specimens emerge. More importantly, even if you never find a coin worth hundreds of millions of dollars, the search itself is rewarding, and discovering coins worth hundreds or thousands of dollars is genuinely possible for anyone willing to learn and put in the effort. Every single day, valuable coins are spent in transactions, deposited in banks, and circulated through the economy because the people handling them simply don't know what they have. Every single day, knowledgeable collectors make discoveries that generate significant profits because they've taken the time to educate themselves about what to look for. You now have the knowledge about these three specific dates: 2000, P, 2006, P, and 2016, P, and the types of characteristics that make them valuable. You understand the importance of errors, grading, full bands designation, and preservation quality. You know about the authentication process and how to get coins professionally evaluated when you find something promising. Most importantly, you understand that valuable coins are still out there, waiting to be discovered by someone with the knowledge and awareness to recognize their significance. So the next time you receive dimes in your change, take a moment to check those dates and mint marks. Look at a 2016 P dime with fresh eyes, knowing that it could be one of those extraordinary specimens we've discussed.